Hi guys, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knight, and this is Manic Mondays, the show where I do updates. And today I have a very, very special episode. A book shipment came in. So I'm very excited to show you guys what special offerings I will soon be having on prismaticdreams.com. Let's get started. So, first, what you've all been waiting for, the grand unveiling of the physical form of the Exorcist's Acolyte. Now, last year during Halloween, I know it's huge. I messed up the measurements, but you know, it's a collector's edition signed copy, so I think it's okay for the size. But as some of you may know, I, just for funsies, tried to write a horror novella. Well, it's going to be a short story. It turned into a novella because I kind of fell in love with it. Last year during Halloween, just for fun. And I had the ebook up before it was, like, perfected and made beautiful and the perfect version of it is now. I had it up for free on my website for a little bit. And then I realized this is a really good story and I want to have it in physical form. So, and I feel like a lot of people would want to have it in physical form. The story of this is I was going to write a series of horror short stories for Halloween that had twists. So for this one, it's like the horror tropes of demonic possession and exorcism, but twisted. I didn't end up doing more than one because I fell in love with this one, and it ended up being very cathartic for me, and it helped me heal from my religious trauma a lot. It is kind of blasphemous, but not all the Christians in this story are bad. There's some really good people that just happen to be Christian. I am an atheist, but I'm also kind of spiritual, so I don't really know what the hell I am at this point. It's complicated for me. But it's very dark and literally a horror. There's really bad stuff in it. Violence, murder, obviously, because every horror has murder, but it's also got neglect in it of people that have disabilities and really bad stuff like that. It's also super gay, and there's erotica parts in it, so that might upset a lot of people. But I was actually going to publish this for worldwide distribution through Lulu.com, but they said that it was too offensive. So, yeah. So if you don't, I understand if you don't want to like read something offensive or whatever, but it is horror, and it was healing for me, so I wanted it to have some kind of special version or release. So this version, I have 3 copies right here. It is going to be signed, and it's going to come with a bundle with a piece of jewelry that is themed after the story. I have not finished all 3 versions of the jewelry, but they are going to be randomly assigned to different versions of the book. So what you get is what you get. There's going to be 3 different versions of jewelry. I will show the jewelry, but you're not going to be able to pick which one. It's going to be a surprise for which copy that you get. So, I quite adore this novel, and I hope you guys do too. It's also available in ebook for $5 from Lulu.com. I'm also going to be able to put that on the website as well, so you can just download the ebook if you don't want to spend like $10, $15 on a collector's edition. It's kind of huge, and I understand that, but this is for the kids that, you know, that love collecting stuff. I might keep some of the copies for myself, I don't know. I really love this book. It's my favorite. Also, the art was made by my best friend, Mindy. This was her very first digital art that she ever did, and I think it's amazing. It's gorgeous, and I love it so much. Also, Exorcist Acolyte is not the only book that I will have available. I also have a little short story, it's not a novella, short story sequel to The Exorcist Acolyte called The Apostate. I wrote this before The Exorcist Acolyte and did not realize it was a sequel until a few months ago, which is crazy to me. I wrote this when I was like 19, trying to heal from my religious trauma. It's dark, but there's a couple really horror scenes in it, but it's not as terrifying as Exorcist Acolyte is. It's actually, well, the end of Exorcist Acolyte is pretty beautiful and uplifting and hopeful, and so is this. It's really, it's more feminist because the main character is a woman and she's lesbian, whereas the main character of Exorcist Acolyte is a man. But it's like Exorcist Acolyte, all about people finding their own path away from like a corrupt church. But this book is really cutesy and I love it, just like I do Exorcist Acolyte, but it doesn't have the same like horror feel as Exorcist Acolyte. It's actually a little bit more science fiction-y than Exorcist Acolyte is, but it does take place in the same world and you can really feel that. Which is why I honestly think it's crazy that I wrote the prequel after I wrote the sequel, which is strange to me. And I completely forgot all about it until a couple months ago. The third little short story, well, second little short story, but third book we have is called Voiceless. And like The Apostate, I wrote this when I was like 19, 20. This is based on a dream I had when I came out of the closet. Let me just read to you the little excerpt I have about the dream in the back of the book. Alright, here it is. This entire story is based on an eerie, unnerving dream that I had as a teenager. When I was going through the coming out stages with my parents, they weren't supportive at all. In fact, as much as it hurts my heart to admit this, they were emotionally and mentally abusive toward me. Their belief that they were doing the right thing because of their religion doesn't change that dark fact. My rampant anxiety often manifested itself in the form of strange, disturbing nightmares, this voiceless dream being one of them. The following was written in 2005 upon awakening from the vision. Dreaming. I was talking to my mother about some boy. I was lying to her. She didn't want me talking to him, so I told her that I wouldn't. Promised even. But in the back of my mind, I knew that I would make no such effort. I couldn't stay away from him. He was the love of my life. I belonged to him. One thing about this boy, he's mute. He cannot speak at all. I walk outside and there he is. I wrap my arms around him and we passionately kiss. This wasn't just any kiss. It had a spark to it that only star-crossed lovers could create. Bittersweet, but hot as hell. It just made me want more. I tell him the truth about my mom and what she made me promise her, and I tell him to meet me in the woods at 3 a.m. He turns around and starts walking away. Then he turns back and looks at me, and with a cocky smirk and a sparkle in his gray eyes, he says, "You know, you have a strange way of making my mouth move." He spoke, and apparently I was the one that got him to speak. He leaves and I go back into the house. I look at my mom and stone-faced lie to her. I keep thinking he's going to show up and ruin everything. Awakening. What does this mean? I think the boy represents my hidden homosexuality. I don't want to open up and talk about it because I'm afraid of my parents' reactions, but at the same time I know that I need to talk so that I can heal. I can't tell to my mother about this dream. She'll scream and rant and tell me that she doesn't want to hear it, and so I am mute. Should I go and find someone who will listen, or make my mouth move, as the boy put it? I've tried this before. It does not end well. I suppose I shall stay silent. 2017 reaction to reading this. This is when I first published this book. I'm glad I ripped the stitches out of my lips and spoke up. My mother and I have a very good relationship now, and she considers Sean, my fiancé, to be part of the family. Because I found the courage to speak, I emerged with not only a future husband, but I gained my family as well. It does get better. 2024 reaction to reading this. Meh, Sean ended up abusing me, cheated on me, and betraying me. My mother is still a conservative at heart and holds firmly onto her beliefs that homosexuality is a sin. We still love each other, but it has never been the same as it was before she found out that I'm gay. My father died, very suddenly. I miss him terribly. The last thing I told him was that I love him. I realize I'm extremely lucky for that. My point is, it does get better, then it gets worse, then better, then worse again, and then better. That's just life. It's an adventure, ups and downs, ins and outs, upside down, inside out, ocean waves, a roller coaster. I've had a mental breakdown in 2021, tried to end my life, and earned a week-long stay in a mental hospital. Let me tell you, I never wanted to kill myself more than when I was under suicide watch. But I got better, a lot better. I wrote this story when I was in my late teens and early 20s. I'm 35 years old now, and though I write very differently now, and better, I wanted to keep this preserved the way it was then. I feel as though, in doing so, it keeps that teenage angst and darkness intact. And I will say that I am happy with where I am in life currently. I love my partner and our little family and our business, but happiness is fleeting. It is a reaction just like anger. What I believe people should strive for in terms of emotions is contentment. Happiness comes and goes, even for neurotypical people, lucky. And although I have depression, I am happy sometimes, but I'm content all the time, and I'm happy with that. Future DC here. I just realized I finished the entire video, and I'm actually editing it currently without telling you exactly what Voiceless is about. It's not in the same, well, it could be. It could be in the same world as Exorcist Acolyte and Apostate, but this is a gothic romance ghost story that takes place in probably like 2008, 2009, because that's when I wrote it. Before gay marriage was legal. I wrote Apostate before gay marriage was legal as well. But yeah, it's about a little teenage emo couple, goth, whatever you're gonna call them. One's rich, one's poor. They're gay and in love, but they're also closeted. The mute boy doesn't want to be closeted. The mute boy is actually a lot more outgoing than the guy that can speak. Simon is the mute, and Jacoby is his secret lover. And tragedy ensues, and Simon ends up killing himself because of it, and Simon becomes a ghost that haunts Jacoby. So it is a modern-ish, 2008, 2010 based gothic romance ghost love story, which I'm very proud of. But I love it very much. But yeah. But that's the 3 books I'm going to have up for sale for physical copy on the website. I am going to have ebooks of the other 2 soon. I just don't know when. It takes a lot of time to format them and get them ready and everything. But that's it for today's episode of Manic Mondays. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I did, and I'm very excited for you to be able to purchase these books and the ebooks whenever they are available. I will keep you guys in the loop. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!